Welcome everyone. I've just initiated the recording, so we'll start in about 10 seconds. Hope you're all able to view my screen. You're all set. All right. Very warm good morning, good afternoon to all of you. Good morning because Dr. Anita is joining from the US, so it's way too early for you, Dr. Anita, 4:30 a.m. So thank you so much for joining in that early. I hope you had your coffee before you joined in. And good afternoon, everyone. Happy Movember and a belated International Men's Day. My name is Srini Ramaswamy, and I am the founder of Men's Circle India. And I'm thrilled to welcome you on behalf of my entire team to the Movember webinar series. For those of you who may not know the origin of Movember, it's an annual global movement. It started back in 2003 in Australia when two friends, Travis and Luke, were having a beer and they jokingly decided to bring back the mustache. The idea quickly evolved into a campaign to raise awareness and funds for men's health issues. Today, Movember's primary focus is on four key areas: prostate cancer, testicular cancer, mental health, and suicide prevention. It's about stopping men from dying too young and ensuring men everywhere live happier, healthier, longer lives. And we are proud to be part of that mission today. At Men's Circle India, our mission is to foster holistic health and well-being for men across all age groups and backgrounds. We are a for-profit organization dedicated to providing programs, solutions, and consulting for individuals and corporations. We focus on full spectrum of well-being, be it mental, physical, emotional, social, spiritual, occupational, financial, and today we are talking about relational, sexual, and purpose. This includes our very own signature program called Listening Circle, held every month in cities like Bangalore, Hyderabad, Mumbai, Delhi, and Chennai. I'll be pinging the link to read about these listening circles and join if you can. To further our efforts in raising awareness about awareness and education about men's holistic health and well-being, we are hosting a series of 4 webinars this month. And today is the 4th and the final webinar, which focuses on relationship and sexual well-being. Don't worry, we have recordings of the 3 other webinars. If you're missed attending those, we'll be sharing them soon, so you can watch them live. For today, it gives me immense pleasure to welcome our experts for the session, Dr. Anita, Chief Medical Officer, RxMen, Pallavi Barnwal, founder, GetIntimacy, and they will be in conversation with, everyone knows, Shiv Kumar, executive coach and mental health advocate. He will be talking to them and doing a deep dive on today's topic, sharing valuable anecdotes, insights, and practical techniques. A warm and a huge welcome to all 3 of you. Shiv, I hand over the mic. Over to you.
Awesome. Thank you, Srini, and thank you to everybody who has been able to join us today. So before we get into the insights and questions and anecdotes, so on and so forth that Srini was referring to, I just want to take a moment to share with you why this topic came into being. The genesis was the listening circle that Srini was referring to. So, I remember this happened, I think, a few, I would say, weeks back. A man, let's say, in his early 40s, shared this in a private conversation, of course, not in the listening circle. He said, the first time my body did not respond the way I expected. He did not tell his wife. He did not tell his closest friend. And of course, he did not tell the doctor either, because it was too embarrassing for him. But guess who he told? He asked Google. And that's exactly, what happens when it comes to these kind of topics. And he also went on to share that at that very moment, he felt his entire masculinity was on trial. And that is the reason why we're having this conversation today. Of course, this is something that stayed with Srini and me, and we thought that, let's discuss this topic. As much as it is difficult to discuss this topic, let's go ahead. Because that silence of not being able to discuss is where many men live today when it comes to sexual well-being. It's not from a dysfunction alone. It is the confusion, perhaps. It is in comparison. It is in fear in many cases. It is guilt. It's performance pressure. Like we keep saying, men are always performing, right from boardroom to bedroom and every in between. And that is the space today's conversation sits in. One, let me assure you, this is not going to be a medical lecture. Let's be very clear about that. It's not going to be one of those. It's not going to be a performance manual either. So you're not going to get a manual. That's not going to happen. It's going to be a conversation. It's going to be a conversation about how and what men experience. It could be rejection. It could be guilt. It could be lack of confidence, connection, intimacy in real relationship. Before I jump in and bring Dr. Anita and Pallavi into the conversation, I just want to share a small note, and that is, take what resonates with you today. Not everything may resonate with you, and that is, perfectly fine. Leave what does not. If something feels uncomfortable during the conversation, it does not mean something is wrong. It just means that something is real and it is being touched. So let that sit with you. And like Srini was mentioning, we have Dr. Anita and Pallavi with us, and both of them have done a lot of work when it comes to relationship dynamics, emotional health, sexual well-being in human context. So firstly, thank you to both of you for holding this space with us today. And with that, we'll jump right in. Does that sound good, Dr. Anita and Pallavi? Perfect. So, Pallavi, I'll start with you. I know you're in Delhi. The weather looks really awesome, by the way, in the background. So we'll start with you. So most of the times, we hear men say that they're using the internet to feel enough. When you hear this during your coaching conversation, what does it tell you about where men are today in their relationships, intimacy, identity, so on and so forth? So I'm sure a lot of people speak with you about this.
I think yes, where men are, I feel we all are in a stage of our own sexual evolution. And I feel men are also in that, and somewhere I think this can be just as a what I am seeing as an observation and not making a comment on someone. But what I see is a lot of men are prepared to make money, but they're not prepared for intimacy. Like they thought that okay, to be a good enough man, I need to earn, and I think that's where my job is done. So this is so new to them. Intimacy is so new to them. Like in my sessions, I have female clients, and this was repeating this term. She said, "I want to have deep talk with my husband, but he's not able to have." And now everyone was like, what this deep talk is about? So deep talk is something which goes more than kitchen, like have you eaten, khana kha liya, do you need anything, caring, something which is below the regular talk. And I think men are, now they are like, there is this man who is saying, I need to be vulnerable. I get, but I don't know how to be vulnerable. So the vulnerability topic has kicked in, but the journey is still, they are going through. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. Just you were speaking of layers, Pallavi. So if you were to delve one level deeper and staying with the same question, resorting to the internet, I was looking at some stats, and it says that we rank third when it comes to consumption of pornographic material. And
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah,
So with
I
that,
mean, this is Yeah, this is something I have seen in a lot of my clients who say that porn plus masturbation. Like for a man, unfortunately, because he's not given enough opportunity to explore his body, his only method of arousal is porn. Like he watches porn and he masturbates to it. And there is guilt also because it's not socially condoned behavior. Although it does come in sex therapy, they call it as sexually explicit material. But then the reliance on porn also to cope with distressing feelings like, okay, I come back home from 9 to 5. That's a typical, I will say, a routine for a regular working man who comes back home 9 to 5, and then he watches some Netflix, or maybe he watches some porn releases, and then he goes to sleep. And I think that's such an injustice to male sexuality, where I don't blame men, because like you said, internet, it's all it is a mix of everything. It's like a khichdi. So, um, yeah, and then I feel that men have very few avenues to explore their pleasure also. Like porn is so accessible thanks to the phone. So, um, I don't blame them, because there is a supply and there is a demand. So, but then now, a lot of men are curious. Like a lot of men attend my pleasure workshops where they say, okay, I'm interested to learn more about this. So that is also outlook is also opening.
Yes, Dr. Anita.
Okay. So one thing is that I don't know why people make porn such a big issue. And I always tell people the more you tell human beings, please do not do that, please do not go on that route, the more they want to. Right? And I, being in the field for last 25 years, I have never told anybody do not watch porn. In fact, some of my therapy, sex therapy sessions, I do encourage people like you need to watch porn sometimes, whether it is men or women and couples as well. Now, what is the main issue here? The issue is you have to understand how does this man or woman connect with porn, what expectation and what messages they are taking back home, and that is what creates an issue, creating false expectations, trying to enact what is shown in the porn. And the way this neurochemistry works, the arousability is completely creating havoc. So I always tell people, please, please talk about porn in not a way where it's harmful. You're not supposed to do it. Masturbation. See how it resonates with you, what message you're taking, and how you're using it in your life. Because that's not harmful. It's the way you use it makes it harmful.
Very well put, Dr. Anita. Thank you, Dr. Anita and Pallavi. So, staying with you, Dr. Anita. So, there are many a times, when we see that there are moments that men experience where their body just doesn't respond the way they want it to, right? And I mean, of course, they feel a sense of shame when they have to speak. Then, of course, we say it could be stress, overthinking, so on and so forth. But the curiosity that remains with men is, how do we deal with it without spiraling into self-doubt, fear, confusion, so on and so forth? So what would you recommend men who are listening to this right now?
So, Shiv, first of all, you mentioned such encouraging words, right? Stress, overthinking. What do you think happens? So, this the and you've been using a word which is completely scrapped and prohibited in our field, which is performance. Now imagine the word performance you use for such a beautiful thing, which is intimacy, how derogatory that becomes, because here you become like a circus animal. You're trying to perform to show, you're creating a show, which is absolutely not. And when we talk about sex, and I hope Pallavi agrees with me, we talk about sex where two people are involved and they are partners, right? That's a very important word. They are called the partnership. So this stress which is created, this overthinking which is created, definitely affects men or women, everybody. And do you think there are times when the body doesn't respond? Of course. There are times when our body doesn't want to, we don't want to eat, we don't want to drink. So this is a very normal phase, and there's nothing to be really stressed out. Now, something what you could do about this, right? Once you get that concept about it's not a performance, it's a partnership act. right? We both are equally involved. The stress eases out, right? So, one thing I always tell my patients, remember, if you are stressed, you're overthinking. You're thinking about what happened in the past. You're thinking about what your partner is thinking. You are not at the moment enjoying that act. It is going to affect you. Either your reaction goes off or you're going to prematurely ejaculate, which you really don't want. So, the best thing you can do in this relationship is relax, enjoy that moment, enjoy that journey. Don't think it's going to be a goal. Don't think, "Oh, I have to ejaculate, I have to reach orgasm." It is the pleasure these two human beings are enjoying between each other. So focus on that, right? Do not score yourselves. It is not about scoring, it is about how you are as lovers, as partners. It's an equal partnership. I also recommend patients, try to do some breathing exercises, and luckily we have breathing exercise videos, so men who are really interested should definitely, with the help of Shiv or Srini, watch those videos, relax yourself, get in that mode of physical love and intimacy, emotional intimacy, and then you'll see, oh my god, I'm not stressed at all because I'm enjoying the moment. I'm not only focusing as a performance, I'm enjoying it as a partnership, intimate bonding act.
Thank you, Dr. Anita. You spoke about premature ejaculation. So Pallavi, with that, I'd like to get your view as well, because many a times when young men get into the act, they just finish too quickly, and that also is embarrassing for them, right? So what would you recommend? Because their confidence takes a beating at that particular time.
I do bring them to their sense of self-worth, because a lot of times their self-worth is attached to I need to impress this woman, or if I'm not able to impress this woman, then I cannot show up, or I have disappointed. So I bring them their understanding to that sexuality is a whole body experience. Your whole body is sexual, from your skin, and sexual organs are a part of it. So do not reduce the entire sexual experience to your penis. I also tell them one thing, that how do you think lesbian women have sex? So if lesbian women have sex, which means that female sexuality, female pleasure is not dependent on penis, like in a lesbian sex, and it is science has proved that the orgasm rates of lesbian women are much higher than the orgasm rates of heterosexual women. So this is one thing that do strike them, because they associate so much, like it's a penis is the warrior, penis is the sword, it just everything is like on this humble penis. So I feel don't put so much of expectations, and explore other ways. Like there is one thing that I prescribe is something from Masters and Johnson, which is sensate focus, to explore each other's bodies, find more pleasure. And I have seen results. Like recently I had this client, and he said, you taught me, Pallavi, that sex is not outcome based. Sex is a journey. So there's some simple exercises in sex therapy, which one of them is giver and receiver exercises. So these exercises help them, like, so for example, just quoting this man. So he said that sometimes I pleasure my wife, sometimes she pleasures me, and sometimes we have sex. So it's a good combination to not just go by this one foreplay, intercourse, orgasm. Like this is the standard script of sex. So bust that script and explore new ways, and there are new ways.
You refer to different ways and new ways. I'm sure the audience is very curious, because the only act that most of us are aware of is actual having sex. So what are the different ways that you're referring to right now?
Okay, so one of the things which is so underexplored is couple massages. Massage is a great way, and I can actually teach some massage techniques, very simple techniques. You can right now do it. So one of the massage techniques is holding, like this is a still touch, and you can hold on any part of the body. Holding is a still grounded, like Dr. Anita was talking about grounding. So it's a very grounding touch. Like when you hold your partner, it's a kind of a still touch, and you can do this holding touch on any part of the body. And there are many, many such touches like gliding touch, vibration touch, then drumming touch, where so different massage techniques I teach them, different erotic touches. And there is a library of erotic touch technique. Like this holding is just one technique which I spoke about. So that's where if they come for a sex therapy session, and it's a skill, it's a specialized skill. So the different ways is erotic touch. Then something which I mean personally, it has saved my sex life with my husband. I am in my 40s, and I am going through any regular stressor, like whether it is running a startup, managing a teenage kid, and all, like elderly mother. I 3 pets in the house, so there is like a truckload of responsibilities on my head. And I was like, how do I safeguard my sex life? So something which I highly recommend, it's my personal favorite too, is called mutual masturbation. It's mutual pleasure giving, and your hands are such a dexterous tool. In our hands we have so much of flexibility. As you can see, I'm moving my finger. There is so much of flexibility. There is so much of strength. So you can pleasure your partner. You can, and women, they come through manual masturbation, like self masturbation. So even a man can help her come by giving clitoral stimulation, and she can help him come by giving. And if they don't come, even they are still sharing pleasure. So I feel, use your hands as much as you're using your sexual parts.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that, Pallavi. Moving on, you spoke about, different touches, massages, so on and so forth. So staying with that conversation, many a times we see that many couples, for many couples, intimacy just becomes mechanical after, some point in time. That kind of connection fades away, and it's just the act that remains, right? So, specifically sticking with men, how do we bring back that closeness so that it doesn't seem like a chore? It is pleasurable. You touched upon a few things, but I'm very curious, if we remove the act from it, where does intimacy come
Okay. Intimacy, I'll quote one of the therapists, Dr. Alexandra Solomon. She talks about, she defines intimacy as into me see. So into me see. So see into me. So I do feel a lot of times, because of the fear of confronting. I mean, I can tell you as a lived experience of a marriage, and I think some of the people will resonate, where we stop taking on our partner because of the fear of either the partner will blow up or the partner will get hurt, and you stop taking on each other. I'll say start taking on each other with love. I mean, you need to confront each other and stop playing like everything is fine in the house, because when there are unresolved issues, first casualty is passion. So it is a sex where the first sign of troubles will come up. Sex is inadvertently, in majority of the cases, the sex life gets affected. So that's your red flag. So I will say confrontation is something that we fear to do, because we feel like, again, giving the obvious reasons, either your partner will blow up, or you feel that your partner will not listen to you, or your partner is hurt. Like, it's so upsetting for them to know, oh, this is with me. Like, there was this woman, she said, I fake orgasms. I can't tell I don't know, how do I tell? So sometimes, to get what you want, you need to be willing to risk the relationship. This is a relationship factual truth, that a lot of times we try to play safe, but sometimes you need to risk the relationship. So open up, whatever you are holding in your heart, which is intimacy, like, you're not letting your partner intimacy. So open your heart and have some courage. This will go a long way. Have the courage that the relationship will go through the thick and thin. They say it's the thick and thin, so it will go through the thick. Have the courage.
Thank you, Pallavi. Coming to you, Dr. Anita. I mean, I'm somebody who loves numbers, so I was, looking at a few statistics. It says that 89% of surveyed sample consumed pornographic material, and it also goes on to say that 66% of men in North India, this is the outpatient sample that they were referring to, suffer from erectile dysfunction, and about 48% in South India, and about 20 to 40% men experience premature ejaculation. And we are the land of Kama Sutra. Men still find it very difficult. What do you have to say to men who are watching this right now? You're on mute, Dr. Anita.
Yeah, Shiv, what a lovely question, man. Really. So you're telling me in a country like India, where Kama Sutra was actually, discovered, Kama Sutra was written, how do men suffer with this issue? Right? And I have to tell you, according to the WHO, and you already read the statistics, but according to the WHO, every man at least some point in his life will be suffering at least with one sexual problem. And the most commonest sexual problems are erectile dysfunction or premature ejaculation in men. And this then spirals down to start affecting their confidence, start affecting their sexual interest, sexual desire, and which of course affects the relationship. Now, you're asking me, why is this a problem in a country like India? Main reason why this happens is this lack of proper, okay, authentic sex education, right? And whatever you just mentioned something about Google Doctor, right? People want to go to Google Doctor, but do not want to go to professionals like Pallavi, professionals like us, at RxMen. They do not want to spend, either they don't want to spend time, or they're truly embarrassed. How can I discuss about this? Or sometimes, you know what? I am like, I don't want to spend time and money on this. I would rather go to Google and get, and that is what affects them getting incorrect information, right? And one of the information which you just talked about was porn. So there is so many, right from proper improper sex education available. There's so much of myths which is created, right? Sadly, our society is not easygoing as well. They themselves have so many negative messages about sex, which is given to men and women, and which, as they grow, becoming adults, starts affecting their intimate relationships. So it's, we don't get proper education. We have myths created. We have a society giving us wonderful negative information, like those good boy syndrome. Good boys लड़कियों के चक्कर में नहीं फंसते हैं, करियर पे ध्यान देते हैं. लड़कियों को ये कहा जाता है कि ओ ओ ओ बॉयज आर बैड, आपका लाइफ बर्बाद हो जाएगा, so stay away from. And then these people expect men and women to get married and be in good relationships. Whoa, the message was wrong given, है ना? And then lastly, we do not have proper professionals, right? We do not have proper professionals who are trained in this profession to guide the patients. My suggestions would be, guys, stop going to Google Doctor, because of course they're going to give you thousands other wrong messages. We have professionals right from here, lovely Pallavi, who is sitting in Delhi, to our RxMen, where we are there to help you, and we are properly trained, educated in the field of sexology. So why do you want to go to people, to go to free Google, who's going to give you incorrect messages, who's going to stress you out and lead you nowhere, hampering your confidence? So rather build your confidence, be the smart person to get authentic help. And as far as I know, Shiv, RxMen also has a little perk with you guys today. We are going to give people who are the attendees here, we are going to give them free first consultation. So if there is somebody who is really struggling with something, or even have any questions and concerns, have doubts, please reach out to us. We'll be able to help you.
Perfect. Thank you, Dr. Anita. So what we're saying is that there are multiple reasons why, people may not seek professional support, and that's why they go to Dr. Google instead of, coming to RxMen or Pallavi, right? So, but I'm curious, extending that conversation. So today, if a father needs to have a conversation with his son on these similar topics, it's very difficult, right? And I'm sure men watching this would be like, how the hell do I really start this conversation? So what would you really advise them in that case?
Of course. Shiv, do you have children?
No, I
You
don't.
don't.
No,
You don't. Okay. What about Srini?
neither does Srini. So that's
No.
a
Srini.
very difficult
Who has?
question.
Let's ask the audience. Who has children? Can somebody just come forward? We don't want to see your face, but we just want to hear your voice. Probably. Let's see who volunteers.
I
I
do.
do. Hi, doctor. I do.
Lovely, my dear. So what's your name?
This is Sandeep here, but I think even Santosh volunteered. So
Beautiful.
I
I don't mind either Sandeep or Santosh. Guys, you have children, right?
do.
You have a son?
I have a son and a daughter, a son who's 20
Beautiful.
years old
Beautiful.
and a daughter who's 18.
Beautiful. What a lovely thing. Sandeep ji, you remember the days when you taught your son how to brush teeth?
Yeah, I do.
Was it embarrassing?
No.
Good. Did you teach him like, hey, you're becoming a teenager, you might start smelling, use a deodorant, take a
Yes.
good shower every day?
Yes.
Was
Yes,
it
I do.
embarrassing?
No.
No. Why do you think talking about masturbation, about sexuality becomes embarrassing?
No. I mean, I have also spoken about that with my son. So I'm pretty comfortable. We do exchange. Even in fact with my daughter, I have told her what is correct, what is wrong, what is being careful, what is not, etc., etc. How does the society react even to that particular extent? We have had these conversations.
Beautiful. So you look at this wonderful example. We talk about brushing, we talk about the hygiene, but sometimes these conversation can become uncomfortable only if you think it's uncomfortable. So you have a perfect example from Mr. Sandeep who said, I just made it very normal, like a normal conversation. There is sometimes, it comes from us, Shiv. We create those limitations. We create those uncomfortable moments because we somehow are not comfortable with it. So here we have a perfect example, Sandeep, and I'm sure other people will be there who like, yeah, I could talk about brushing, hygiene, but I didn't want to talk about masturbation because there's something which I don't feel is right or something which I don't feel is comfortable. Once you normalize it, you think like you personally think this is such a normal behavior and I want my child to grow up with sexual confidence or an as adult who's a confident partner, not just a performer. And that's when those conversations becomes normal in a family. So I would always encourage people. We are all from very educated sector nowadays. We are very well qualified. Make it like a very normal conversation because sexuality is normal. We are I have this one of my mentors who is Dr. William Staten who says that all human beings are sexual human beings. We are sexual beings. We just make it uncomfortable because we think it is not something normal which we are doing. Once we start thinking this is a very normal behavior, existential behavior, you will start noticing everything is becoming very easy for you. So just take this conversation as you talk about hygiene and other aspects of safety to your child. Make them confident partners in intimacy. Relationship confidence should be given from your family first. Shiv, did I answer your question?
Can I
Um,
just add one point, doctor, if I may? I'll not take more than a minute.
please go ahead, Sandeep.
Yeah. So one of the thing that I consciously did was not to change channels or switch off stuff when things used to come. And thanks to the web series nowadays, I think they are a pretty good example, for the lack of a better word, to get this normal conversation going. So whenever certain things come, I've seen among some of my friends who say that, oh, is that a good thing for the kids to watch? And what I say is, was, yeah, they go back to the school and they discuss about it. So I'm sure we cannot keep shielding them from anything and everything.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Sandeep ji, thanks for sharing.
Awesome, Sandeep. Thank you
Um,
so much. Thank you, Dr. Anita. Just moving on, to changing gears slightly, Pallavi, I'm very curious. So, uh, some men carry, the guilt about desires, and fantasies, but there is no open conversation and there are preferences. But sometimes, from a context perspective, from a societal context perspective, that's perceived as wrong, to have fantasies or actually speak about it. What would you advise men, if they have fantasies, if they have desires, how do they really communicate with their partner about these things?
Oh, that's a wonderful question, Shiv. Because firstly, desire, I'll pick the fantasy question. So it's also how the fantasy is perceived. Like there is such a limited information that, it's half-cooked information what we have understood about fantasy. I I don't remember the name of the sex therapist, but I did this course on fantasy exploration and I was blown away by the information I encountered on fantasy. And I was doing this one women only workshop where these are women who have like lost their libido and they have come up for the workshop fantasy exploration completely disconnected to fantasy prompts, okay, and they were actively fantasizing. And I would love to play one small game with the audience here where we can do one fantasy role play, which is like my very beginner, like you can actually try this with your partner and believe me, she will not feel bad and she will be encouraging. This is like a very tried and tested fantasy formula. So, shall we play? If we have 2 minutes. Okay. So imagine I'm going to take you through a fantasy scene. Okay, and we are going to fantasize. So imagine that you are the chief spy of India. Okay, let's get into the fantasy zone. You all are the chief spy of India, and you get to know from some insider source that India is under, a potential attack from a military chief. Okay, and this military chief is a female military chief, and as a chief spy, there is a secret file that you have to get which has all the information about the attack and the battle and everything. So you have to get that information from the female military chief, and you can only do this by seducing her. So how are you going to seduce her? And I always put that this is patriotism, so you need to seduce. You cannot let down your country. And almost all women, so when you bring that up, it's just a nice cocktail. And I would love to hear some answers. Like, you can type in the chat. I have got wonderful answers. So maybe Shiv can also try. So this is one icebreaker question that you can try.
I encourage the audience, if you'd like to unmute and, speak, please feel free to do so. Or if you'd like to put it on chat, that's fine, whatever works.
So I think that if you're having a cocktail with her, this is Arsh, by the way. If you're having a cocktail with her, I think a good place to start would be to actually, start using your fingers on the hand. That's a great way to start building a small connection with intimacy. And then I think one thing leads to the other, and you just know where the momentum goes, right? It doesn't have to be informed. And I think women, in general, are very erogenous beings, and they have erogenous parts in their bodies. So I think it's a great way to explore from there.
Anyone else? How are you going to seduce the chief and save the country? And there are like many fantasy scripts. I have to see the resource I have. Maybe I can share it later, but I have almost 20 designed and also sourced like more than 50 fantasy scripts, which are so novel. Like, they are like just, so yeah.
Yes, Dr. Anita.
How about you talk about her beauty? Women love to be talked about how beautiful she looks. Praise her, adore her, and gradually move on to maybe touching, talking about her beautiful hair. seduction, right? Seduction can also be verbal.
Absolutely. So, Pallavi, coming back to fantasies, so what would you recommend to men, in terms of, how do you have these conversations? Because nobody's had those conversations. Nobody's taught us how to have those conversations. So, and it may be embarrassing in a particular relationship.
Fantasy, it's a, you know what, uh, every person in this world has fantasized. We often think fantasy as sexually explicit, but if you have ever sat in a movie theater and maybe you have watched a war drama and you are like fully hooked onto your seat and you feel like you are being, it's a sci-fi drama or it's a war drama or it's a, historical some tale or it's some romantic movie where you maybe have cried. I think you all get transported in the fantasy zone. So fantasy is our imagination, and how do we cultivate our imagination? So I will say one prime time to cultivate your fantasy is when you are resting, when you are relaxing, and you can just let your horses go. Also, one thing is that a lot of people judge their fantasies. We self-judge our fantasy. Like I get this question that I I I like someone, or maybe I'm thinking about my ex. Even though I'm married, I'm thinking about my ex. Is it wrong or right? It's very tricky question that should one fantasize about their ex? Should one fantasize about porn actresses? Should one fantasize about so this is something the great sex therapist Esther Perel, she is a legend. She said that what happens in your brain is your business alone. I mean, I just go by that your brain is your business. So as long as it is fantasy, a lot of times we mistake fantasy with reality. So the fantasy means it's a fantasy, it's a mental fantasy. There is no real life translation into an action. So, for example, if I think about my ex, I'm under no mood to find his number and call him and say, hey, where are you? But I am happy thinking about some past good sexual experience, and that's it. So I think that's where we can say is don't censor your imagination. As long as you are imagining and you are just in that mode, just don't go into self censorship. Give yourself permission to fantasize.
Awesome. Give yourself permission to fantasize. Perfect. Dr. Anita, you'd raised your hand. Would you like to add to that?
Absolutely, and me and Astor are very good friends. So I was in an auditorium with almost like around 3,000 people, and this question was raised, madam, and the question raised was, do you think fantasizing about your ex or fantasizing about an actor or a celeb could be a part of infidelity? And she exactly, Pallavi said something very, very unique. Your fantasy is your business, it's your property. Do not judge it. Fantasize as if this is your world and kingdom, right? Many a times we also do a technique in sex therapy where we maintain diaries. This is called a fantasy diary. I don't know if Pallavi has done that with her clients, but as a part of sex therapy, I encourage my couple patients just to create a fantasy diary. And at times when we are meeting as couples, as in a consultation, we patients can sit and discuss about at least one fantasy. So this is another very good technique. If you can encourage, if you are people who are here right now with your partners, try to maintain a diary. And there she's allowed to write her fantasies, you are allowed to write your fantasies. And at least once in a week, you guys should discuss about one fantasy which you both can consensually work upon. And you can always have your own boundaries and restrictions. I'm going to give you an example why I say that. Okay, but please try to do that. It is going to strengthen your relationship. It's going to take your intimate relationship to another level. Now, why do I say that? Maintain boundaries. Okay, and I'm going to say about this. So, this was when I was just completing my MD Psych in Mumbai, and my senior, he was practicing pediatrician, and he says, Anita, I've always been fantasizing, and of course, beautiful relationship, two wonderful kids, both are physicians now, but he said, I've always been fantasizing about the time when I want to have sex with my wife on a dining table, but somehow I have never been able to tell her that. But imagine if you can have that damn open communication with your partner that this is what I fantasize. How do you feel about it? Can we do something about this? She might say, are you crazy on a dining table? But how about we can do it on our bed? How about we can do it on a sofa? So you can negotiate, you can discuss. I have somebody who comes and says, ma'am, I fantasize about, I want to have anal pleasure, anal sex with my partner. But I don't think so she'll be ever ready. Or rather, we have females who are ready to have anal sex with men because we can, of course, now use flexible dildos. These are something which should have like an open conversation in your relationship. Pallavi said it very nice. There is no censorship, there is no judgment on your fantasy. It's your kingdom, it's your property. But maintaining a diary and discussing with your partner, and sometimes having that flexibility of fulfilling your fantasies are really, really very magical in your relationship.
Yeah, beautifully put. Thank you, Dr. Anita. Thank you, Pallavi, for bringing that up in such a beautiful manner. Uh, staying with that, Dr. Anita, we speak about fantasies, we speak about, the communication, so on and so forth. But after 40, 45, somewhere, as much as you would like it, your body does not participate in it. What would you recommend? Especially for men, we speak about andropause, so on and so forth. But still.
Yeah. Few things which are very important for men to know, even for women especially, but especially men, because men are as I've told you, the word, they are supposed to be the performers. They are supposed to be the person who is having, giving pleasure. So one thing, remember, guys, which even Pallavi did mention, it is not your responsibility to bring pleasure to your partner. It's not. It is a partnership when both should have pleasure. Both should be involved in pleasure. Once you take that stress in your relationship that you are responsible for somebody else's pleasure, that is when it becomes a stressful factor, right? Beyond 40, why do these things really affect? Okay, why do you think? Now, sex in general is not easy. It is just not an easy task. It's a lot of strain on your mental, physical, emotional well-being, and emotional. It involves everything. And the WHO very beautifully summarizes this definition where it's an orchestra between your mind, body, and the other systems inside your body. And anything which goes wrong can cause sexual dysfunction, right? To maintain this, you guys need to have good physical health, good physical fitness. Men somehow ignore a lot of things: physical health, mental health. And right now, since you guys are in the month of men's health, all throughout the world, it has been noticed that men's health are really deteriorating. Men are dying at a very early age. Men are getting heart attack at very early age because they are not focusing on your physical health. And people who compromise on their physical health is directly going to affect their sexual health, because sex is not easy. It is compared to aerobics, it is compared to cycling for 1 hour. 1 to 2 hours of cycling is the when you're having sex with somebody. That's the amount of strain your body has to go through. So one good thing which I would really, really request all men is, please start taking care of your health. Please start taking care of your physical health, and you will see you will be amazing in your sexual life. And to add to that, when this ever happens, like, man, beyond 40, things are not looking really great. Erections have starting affecting. And once the erection starts affecting, I'm not interested in anymore. My wife keeps on saying, what's really going on with you? Why is this small little thing not working? Best is reach out to a physician, get a good health checkup, get into good physical routine, also RxMen has something like we have something called as a confidence and intimacy guide, which I think RxMen is going to be very generous by giving all the attendees this as a free gift. So it's a guide. Use it sincerely. It's made with a lot of scientific facts. Use that and use it in your physical, in your relationship and in your life to bring that confidence. But mainly remember, it's not easy. And the only way you can make it easy is by taking care of your health, emotional health, physical health, mental health, psychological health. When stress is out, love is a part of your relationship. Remember, it's a partnership. When love is there, intimacy is there, things become very easy. And then it's an important thing, Shiv, to remember. Men or women, I don't know why sex is always physical. It's all about penetration. It's all about intercourse. And beyond the age of 40, 50, 60, we try to get a different perspective about what is physical intimacy, what is absolutely relationship. And that's also important. So beyond 40, when you start noticing, hey, you know what? I need to bring something else. Bring love, bring bonding, bring connection. Go beyond what is physical intimacy, go to emotional intimacy. Go go to a level of connection with your partner, and you'll see beyond that, 50, 60, even 100 years, you're going to be perfectly physically fit and sexually fine.
Awesome.
Change your perspective, guys, from physical intimacy to intimacy.
Awesome. Very well put. I see Arsh's hand up. Arsh, over to you.
Hi, thank you, Shiv. I was just writing my question down in the chat box also. But thank you for the opportunity. I'll just quickly ask Dr. Sham. So, Dr. Sham, thank you. It's been lovely, listening to you. I just had, one question. You said that providing sexual pleasure to your partner is not your responsibility, and we should relieve ourselves of that pressure, right? But I just want to say that I think a lot of work, especially after the feminist movement, and when the women are reclaiming themselves, and what we've seen over many years, that the lack of emphasis which is laid on women's sexuality and women's orgasm, especially when men are interacting with women in an intimate space, it's extremely low. So I have a feeling that if we further deny them the responsibility of not providing pleasure to their female partner, I don't know how progressive will that be, because I feel that men really need to learn that it's not just about them ejaculating and going about their day. It's about also making sure that your partner, whoever that is, and especially in heterosexual sexual relationships, your woman is also feeling sexually fulfilled. So how do we deal with this dichotomy?
Of course, Arsh, and that comes very commonly to all to professionals like us. See, thing is, it's not your responsibility, and even your partner, it's not her responsibility that you need to reach orgasm. You need to have pleasure. It is your both responsibility. You two are involved in that act. That's why it's called a partnership, right? So when we talk about like I need to give her pleasure, I need to make sure she gets pleasure. No, 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 no. You both have to enjoy that journey. When it becomes each other's responsibility that I need to, that is when the stress begins. So when you are talking about an heterogeneous relationship in a couple, it has to be a combined effort. When she is considering in this whole physical time, she considers your pleasure, your orgasm as a part of this journey, and you think yes, this has to be there. And of course, orgasm should not be the goal. You as couples enjoying that time, connecting that time, and understanding each other's body's pleasure is much more important than the physical aspect of orgasm. So you're not depriving anybody of pleasure, you're being a part of that pleasure. It's not your responsibility, you're just a partner in that pleasure. So it's both your responsibility, both your partnership, which is involved, which is responsible, which is important for both of you to achieve pleasure. I'm not talking about orgasm, pleasure.
Understood, Dr. Sham. Thank you.
Yeah.
So I
So
think
it's
we're
not. It's
focusing more on foreplay, but like less on the final goal and like putting yourself through stress. You have to
yes,
reach
yes,
orgasm. Understood.
yes. So it's
Yes.
it's a partnership, and I always bring this word. It's a very important thing. It's a partnership. There is no hierarchy that a man is responsible for a woman's pleasure. You're depriving her of a pleasure. No, 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 no. She is equally as responsible as you are. You wouldn't want a partner just as Arsh, you wouldn't want a partner who's just lying there, yeah, just do something. I need to enjoy. No, you want a partner who's going to hold you, kiss you. When you kiss her, she's intimately involved with that kiss. When you touch her, cuddle her, she's involved in that whole act. This is not like a drama, right? Yeah, chal, I'm going to do my role and you just sit and enjoy the theater. Remember, whenever two people are involved, it's a partnership. When you both are equally involved, equally, you look out for each other. Hey, is he really enjoying? I gave her this beautiful kiss. Did he really enjoy? What else can we do in this now? This was not okay. Can we do something else together? Can we do body massages? Lovely. Can we do body to body massages? Can we just hold hands and kiss each other and cuddle each other where we both enjoy each other's bodies, each other's time? So remember, it's a partnership. It's not a one-way game.
Understood. Thank you so much, Dr. Sham. Thank you.
Right. Thanks, Arsh. Thank you for that question. We can take like one question if somebody has one. Anyone in the audience? Okay. Doesn't look like we have any further questions, but Dr. Anita Sham and Pallavi are available online, so we can certainly reach out to them. With that, owing to paucity of time, I'd like to conclude. Dr. Anita, thank you so much. And Pallavi, thank you so much for taking time to speak with us. There's so much that I learned. Firstly, to remove the fact that there is a word called performance in association with men. I think, that is something that's pretty clear to me, in addition to the fact that it is partnership, to Arsh's question, and it is not the burden on one of them. So, thank you so much. Dr. Anita, I see your hand up.
I want to acknowledge somebody's presence here. We have our wonderful Dr. Siddharth Chaudhary. He's our in-house psychiatrist and one of our very strong pillars at RxMen. Siddharth.
I'm terribly sorry I was late for this. I was in a consultation, probably
So
saying
guys,
the same things that you were saying here during the course of this interaction.
So this is our wonderful, very, very talented Siddharth Chaudhary. He's our in-house psychiatrist, a very strong pillar of RxMen, and I really want to thank him for being here. Thanks, Siddharth.
Thank you, Siddharth. Great. With that, I will hand it back to Srini. Srini, over to you.
Well, thank you so much, and special thanks to you, Dr. Anita, for waking up, so very early and agreeing to join us. And she's joining from Boston. Lives in Boston. So imagine, for us, it's like immense gratitude for you to get up this early, sort of be with us, share those points with us, and we immensely value all your points. Pallavi, of course, in Delhi, you know how the air quality is, but then, you put in a breath of fresh air in all of us for men to know that, what we can do, how we can sort of build that partnership, relationship, intimacy, and focusing on the well-being. Thank you so much. Shiv, as always, how to tee the conversation up. It was wonderful. I wish we had more time, but I know we are at the hour. For everyone's interest, I have put in the chat window some of the links to the reading materials. And our friends at RxMen were gracious and kind enough. Shailaja, Unnati, Dr. Anita, Dr. Siddharth, and everyone else, sorry if I'm missing names, for being so kind and gracious to give this exclusive opportunity and extend those, wonderful offers. So please check the chat window. All those breathing techniques, exercises, the consultation, they've gone above and beyond to create those microsites only for this webinar. So I just wanted to take that moment to call that out. So please refer to the links in the chat window. Like we said, we are recording this session. We will send this over to all of you over email with all the 4 webinars. Please feel free to reach out to us in case you have questions. We would be happy to assist you. And thank you once again. I mean, this is the first webinar series that Shiv and I we put together. So with our both of from our side and the team side, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Have a good rest of the day.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.